Imagine standing on the edge of the world, where the air thins and clouds drift below your feet. The silence is broken only by the whisper of wind and the distant call of an eagle. This is what awaits you in Earth's most magnificent mountain ranges. Today we're embarking on an epic journey across the planet's most breathtaking hiking destinations. Mountains have captivated humans since the beginning of time. These colossal monuments of nature have been worshipped as the homes of gods, challenged by the most daring adventurers, and cherished by hikers seeking connection with the natural world. But what is it about mountain hiking that calls to so many of us? Is it the challenge of the ascent, the reward of panoramic views that stretch beyond imagination? Or perhaps it's something deeper, a primal connection to the raw power of nature that reminds us of our place in the world. In this video, we'll traverse 5 continents to explore the most stunning mountain ranges for hikers of all levels, from the towering Himalayas to the rugged Rockies, the ancient Alps to the mysterious Andes. By the end of our journey, you'll have all the inspiration and practical knowledge you need to plan your next life-changing mountain adventure. So lace up your virtual hiking boots, and let's begin our ascent into the clouds. Whether you're an experienced trekker or just dreaming of your next adventure, this list will inspire you. Stay with us until the end to discover some hidden gems that many travelers overlook. Our journey begins in Asia, home to the most imposing mountain range on Earth. The Himalayas stretch across 6 countries: India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Bhutan, and Nepal, creating a natural boundary that has shaped civilizations for millennia. The name Himalaya comes from Sanskrit, meaning abode of snow, and when you witness these giants for the first time, you understand why ancient peoples believed they were touching heaven. The statistics alone are staggering. The Himalayas boast over 100 mountains, exceeding 7,200 meters, or 23,600 feet. Among them stands the Colossus Mount Everest, reaching 8,848 meters into the sky. But the true magic of the Himalayas for hikers isn't just in these superlative numbers, it's in the incredible diversity of landscapes, cultures, and experiences awaiting those who venture here. Let's explore some of the most magnificent hiking trails in the Himalayas. The Annapurna circuit in Nepal has long been considered one of the greatest trekking routes in the world. This 150 to 230 kilometer journey takes you through rice terraces, subtropical forests, arid highlands reminiscent of Tibet, and high mountain passes with panoramic views of snow-capped peaks. What makes this trek particularly special is the cultural immersion. As you navigate through various ecological zones, you'll encounter villages representing different ethnic groups, each with their own language, customs, and architectural styles. For those seeking a less crowded but equally spectacular experience, the Marka Valley Trek in Ladakh, India offers stunning contrasts between barren landscapes and verdant valleys. Walking through this ancient kingdom, you'll pass crumbling monasteries perched on rocky outcrops, encounter nomadic shepherds with their flocks, and sleep in traditional homestays where families have lived for generations. The trail culminates with views of 6,000-meter peaks that seem close enough to touch. Then there's the legendary trek to Everest Base Camp in Nepal. While certainly more popular, and therefore more crowded, this journey remains a bucket list experience for hikers worldwide. The trail takes you through the heart of Sherpa country, where Buddhism permeates every aspect of life. Prayer flags flutter in the mountain breeze, ancient monasteries hum with the chants of monks, and the legendary Sherpa people welcome you with warm smiles, despite the harsh environment they call home. The cultural significance of the Himalayas cannot be overstated. For Hindus, these mountains are sacred, home to Lord Shiva and numerous other deities. For Buddhists across the region, certain peaks are considered the dwelling places of bodhisattvas. This spiritual connection is palpable as you hike past prayer wheels, through villages where ancient traditions remain unchanged, and alongside pilgrims making their own sacred journeys. For hikers planning to experience the Himalayas, several practical considerations are essential. First is the matter of altitude. Even experienced hikers from lower elevations need to respect the threat of altitude sickness. The key is gradual acclimatization, ascending slowly, staying hydrated, and being willing to turn back if symptoms persist. Most organized treks build acclimatization days into their itineraries, and it's crucial not to skip these. Weather and seasonality are equally important. The optimal hiking seasons are pre-monsoon, March to May, and post-monsoon, September to November. June through August brings the monsoon, making trails muddy and views obscured by clouds, while December through February brings extreme cold and snow at higher elevations. Logistically, many Himalayan treks require permits, which can be arranged through local trekking agencies. These same agencies can provide guides and porters, not just a source of employment for local communities, but invaluable resources for their knowledge of the terrain, culture, and emergency procedures. Perhaps what lingers longest after hiking in the Himalayas is not just the memory of majestic peaks, but the profound sense of perspective they offer. In the presence of these ancient giants, human concerns seem momentary, our individual lives just brief flashes in the mountain's timeless existence. Yet simultaneously, the vitality of the communities thriving in these harsh conditions speaks to the remarkable resilience of humanity. As we leave the Himalayas behind, their grandeur stays with us, a benchmark against which all other mountain experiences will inevitably be measured. But each range has its unique character and appeal, as we'll discover as our journey continues. From Asia, we travel west to Europe, where the Alps have captivated explorers, artists, and adventurers for centuries. Unlike the relatively young Himalayas, the Alps are ancient mountains with a rich human history dating back thousands of years, stretching across 8 countries: France, Switzerland, Monaco, Italy, Liechtenstein, Austria, Germany, and Slovenia. The Alps form the backbone of Europe, both geographically and culturally. These mountains were born roughly 65 million years ago, when the African tectonic plate collided with the Eurasian plate. The resulting uplift created the dramatic limestone peaks we see today, carved further by glaciers during successive ice ages. While not reaching the extreme heights of the Himalayas, Mont Blanc, the highest alpine peak, stands at 4,809 meters. What the Alps lack in altitude, they make up for in accessibility, infrastructure, and cultural richness. The Alps have been a crossroads of European civilization since Roman times. Ancient trade routes wound through high passes, connecting northern Europe with the Mediterranean. Medieval monasteries provided shelter for travelers, and farming communities developed unique traditions adapted to the mountain environment. This human element adds a special dimension to hiking in the Alps. You're not just experiencing nature, but walking through living history. Perhaps the most celebrated alpine hiking route is the Tour du Mont Blanc, an approximately 170-kilometer circuit that takes you through France, Italy, and Switzerland as you circumnavigate Western Europe's highest peak. What makes this trek exceptional is the seamless blend of natural splendor and cultural immersion. One day, you might be traversing a high pass with sweeping views of glaciers and jagged peaks. The next, you're strolling through charming villages with geranium-adorned chalets and stopping for lunch at a mountain restaurant serving regional specialties. In Switzerland, the Walker's Halt route from Chamonix to Zermatt offers a more challenging alternative. This 2-week journey takes you through the heart of the Swiss Alps, with views of 10 of the 12 highest peaks in the range. Unlike many Himalayan treks, where accommodations are basic, the Halt route offers the unique experience of ending challenging hiking days in comfortable mountain huts or village inns, often with hot showers and exceptional cuisine. For those seeking something less strenuous but equally rewarding, the Dolomites in northern Italy present a wonderland of unique limestone formations, verdant meadows, and distinctive culture. The Alta Via one is particularly notable, winding for about 120 kilometers through some of the most dramatic scenery in the range. The Dolomites also showcase the fascinating cultural blend of Italian and Austrian influences, evident in the architecture, cuisine, and even the languages spoken in the region. Alpine hiking culture has its own distinct character. The tradition of the mountain hut, or refuge in French, refugio in Italian, and Hütte in German, dates back centuries. These establishments range from basic shelters to comfortable lodges, but all share a common spirit of mountain hospitality. Arriving at a hut after a long day's hike, being greeted with a hearty meal, and the camaraderie of fellow hikers from around the world creates memories that last a lifetime. The flora and fauna of the Alps add another dimension to the hiking experience. Alpine meadows burst with wildflowers in summer, edelweiss, gentian, alpine roses, and dozens of other species create carpets of color against the rocky backdrop. Wildlife enthusiasts might spot ibex with their magnificent curved horns, chamois leaping across rocky slopes, marmots whistling warnings from their burrows, or golden eagles soaring overhead. When planning an alpine hiking adventure, timing is crucial. The primary hiking season runs from mid-June to mid-September, when mountain passes are generally free of snow and mountain huts are open. July and August bring the best weather, but also the most crowds. June features spectacular wildflowers, while September offers gorgeous autumn colors and fewer fellow hikers. Weather in the Alps can change rapidly, requiring hikers to be prepared with layers of clothing and rain gear, even on seemingly perfect days. The good news is that the extensive network of trails is generally well marked, detailed maps are readily available, and in many areas, cable cars and mountain railways provide options to shorten hikes if weather turns bad or legs grow weary. Unlike the remote wilderness of some mountain ranges, the Alps offer a perfect blend of adventure and comfort. After days spent in the high country, you can descend to charming mountain towns for rest days filled with cultural exploration, excellent food and wine, and the simple pleasure of watching the changing light on distant peaks from a cafe terrace. As we bid farewell to the Alps, we carry with us the memory of their perfect balance between wild nature and human culture, between challenge and comfort. But now another magnificent range beckons us across the Atlantic, where an entirely different mountain experience awaits. Our global mountain journey now takes us to South America and the mighty Andes, the world's longest continental mountain range, stretching over 7,000 kilometers from Venezuela in the north to Tierra del Fuego in the south. The Andes form a continuous highland along the western edge of South America, passing through 7 countries: Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. The Andes tell a story of superlatives. They are home to the highest mountain outside of Asia, Aconcagua in Argentina, reaching 6,961 meters. They contain the world's highest volcanoes, including Ojos del Salado on the Chile-Argentina border at 6,893 meters. The range includes the highest navigable lake, Titicaca, and some of the highest permanent human settlements on Earth. But what truly sets the Andes apart for hikers is not just these impressive statistics, but the incredible ecological and cultural diversity. The Andes encompass almost every climate zone imaginable. Near the equator in Colombia and Ecuador, you can find snow-capped peaks rising above tropical forests. Further south, the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, sits in the rain shadow of the mountains. In Patagonia, massive glaciers carve their way through the landscape. This environmental diversity makes hiking in different parts of the range completely distinct experiences. Perhaps no Andean hiking experience is more famous than the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu in Peru. This 43-kilometer journey follows ancient pathways laid by the Inca Empire, winding through cloud forests, alpine tundra, and past remarkable archaeological sites, before culminating at the legendary citadel of Machu Picchu. What makes this trek extraordinary is the seamless integration of natural beauty and human achievement. As you climb ancient stone staircases and pass through tunnels carved from the mountainside, you're literally walking in the footsteps of a civilization that mastered these challenging landscapes centuries ago. Due to preservation concerns, the classic Inca Trail is limited to 500 permits daily, including guides and porters. For those seeking alternatives, the Salcantay Trek offers a less crowded but equally magnificent route to Machu Picchu. This higher altitude journey takes you past the sacred Salcantay Mountain at 6,271 meters before descending through diverse ecosystems to eventually reach the famous ruins. Further south, Patagonia offers a completely different Andean experience. The Torres del Paine circuit in Chile is considered one of the world's premier wilderness hikes. This 130-kilometer loop takes you around the Paine Massif, a cluster of distinctive granite peaks that rise dramatically from the surrounding plains. Along the way, you'll pass turquoise lakes, massive glaciers, forests of southern beech trees, and open grasslands where guanacos graze. In Ecuador, the Avenue of the Volcanoes provides yet another unique Andean hiking experience. Here, you can trek between towering active and dormant volcanoes, including Cotopaxi with its perfect conical shape and Chimborazo, which due to the Earth's equatorial bulge, is actually the point furthest from the Earth's center, though not the highest elevation. The Paramo ecosystem found at high elevations here is unlike anything elsewhere on Earth. A high-altitude grassland dotted with bizarre plant forms like the fuzzy Frailer Jones that look like something from a Dr. Seuss book. The indigenous connection to the Andes adds profound cultural depth to hiking experiences. For Andean peoples like the Quechua, Aymara, and Mapuche, these mountains are not just physical features, but living entities with spirits and powers. The concept of Pachamama remains central to Andean cosmology, and you'll frequently encounter offerings left at high passes and distinctive mountain shrines. When planning an Andean adventure, it's important to consider the vast differences in optimal seasons depending on the region. In the tropical north, hiking is possible year-round, though you'll want to avoid the heaviest rain periods. In Peru and Bolivia, the dry season from May to September offers the most reliable weather. In Patagonia, the hiking season is limited to the austral summer from November to March, when days are long and temperatures more moderate. Altitude is another crucial consideration for Andean hiking. Many popular routes take you well above 4,000 meters, where altitude sickness becomes a real concern. As in the Himalayas, proper acclimatization is essential. Cusco, Peru sits at 3,400 meters and makes an ideal base for spending a few days adjusting before tackling higher trails. The logistics of Andean hiking vary dramatically by country and region. In popular areas like the Sacred Valley of Peru, numerous operators offer well-organized treks with guides, cooks, and porters. In more remote regions, independent hiking requires careful planning, proper equipment, and often the ability to be self-sufficient for several days. What lingers after hiking in the Andes is a sense of connection across time to ancient civilizations who built remarkable structures in seemingly impossible locations, to contemporary indigenous communities maintaining traditional ways of life, and to the geological forces that continue to shape these young, still-rising mountains. The Andes remind us that mountains are not static monuments, but dynamic, living systems with both natural and cultural dimensions. As we leave behind the dramatic landscapes of South America, our journey continues to North America, where a very different mountain experience awaits in the vast Rockies. Our global mountain journey now brings us north to the Rocky Mountains, a magnificent range that serves as the rugged backbone of Western North America, stretching over 4,800 kilometers from northern British Columbia in Canada down to New Mexico in the United States. The Rockies represent one of the world's most extensive mountain systems. Unlike the concentrated massifs of the Alps or the singular spine of the Andes, the Rockies form a complex series of ranges, each with its own character and appeal for hikers. The Rocky Mountains began forming about 80 million years ago during what geologists call the Laramide orogeny, when tectonic plates collided and pushed up these massive ranges. Subsequent glaciation during the Ice Ages carved the dramatic features we see today: jagged peaks, U-shaped valleys, crystal-clear lakes, and imposing cirques. While not reaching the extreme elevations of the Himalayas or Andes, Mount Elbert in Colorado is the highest peak at 4,401 meters. The Rockies offer a perfect combination of challenging terrain and accessible wilderness. What truly distinguishes the Rockies for hikers is the sense of vast, pristine wilderness. Here, protected areas like Yellowstone National Park, Grand Teton National Park, Glacier National Park in the US, and Banff, Jasper, and Yoho National Parks in Canada preserve millions of acres of mountain ecosystems. The scale is difficult to comprehend until you're standing on a high pass, looking out over endless waves of mountains stretching to the horizon, knowing that many valleys remain rarely visited by humans. Let's begin our exploration of Rocky Mountain hiking in Canada's Banff National Park, where the 65-kilometer Sunshine to Mount Assiniboine route takes you through some of the most spectacular alpine scenery in North America. The journey begins with a gondola ride up Sunshine Mountain, but quickly leaves civilization behind as you traverse high ridges and pass crystal-clear alpine lakes. The trail culminates at Mount Assiniboine, often called the Matterhorn of North America for its distinctive pyramid shape. Along the way, you might spot grizzly bears feeding on summer berries, mountain goats navigating impossible-looking cliff faces, or golden eagles soaring overhead. Further south, in Montana's Glacier National Park, the Highline Trail offers a more accessible but equally rewarding experience. This 18-kilometer route follows the Continental Divide, with dramatic drop-offs providing constant panoramic views. What makes this trail special is not just the scenery, but the diversity of wildlife. Glacier remains one of the few places in the lower 48 states with all its original predator species intact. Grizzly bears, wolves, mountain lions, and wolverines all roam these mountains, though you're more likely to encounter mountain goats, bighorn sheep, and marmots. In Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park, the Teton Crest Trail represents a perfect multi-day Rocky Mountain experience. This 60-kilometer route parallels the iconic skyline of the Teton Range, taking hikers through flower-filled meadows, past alpine lakes, and over high passes. What distinguishes the Grand Tetons is their dramatic rise directly from the valley floor without foothills, creating one of the most recognizable mountain profiles in the world. Colorado, with 58 peaks exceeding 14,000 feet, known locally as 14ers, offers perhaps the greatest concentration of hiking opportunities in the Rockies. The four-pass loop in the Maroon Bells Snowmass Wilderness exemplifies the Colorado hiking experience. This 42-kilometer route traverses four high mountain passes, each over 3,600 meters, and passes through landscapes ranging from dense forests to alpine tundra. The twin peaks of the Maroon Bells, reflected in Maroon Lake, create one of the most photographed mountain scenes in North America. Rocky Mountain hiking comes with its own unique considerations. Weather can change dramatically and rapidly. With afternoon thunderstorms common in summer, the traditional hiking season is relatively short, typically from July to September when high passes are free of snow. In many areas, particularly in national parks, bear awareness is essential. Carrying bear spray and knowing proper food storage techniques are not optional, but necessary safety precautions. What makes the Rocky Mountain hiking experience distinctive is the sense of wilderness immersion. Unlike the Alps with their network of mountain huts and villages, much of the Rockies requires self-sufficiency. Backpacking with tents and all necessary supplies is the norm for multi-day trips, creating a deeper connection with the landscape. Camping beside an alpine lake, watching the alpenglow illuminate distant peaks as day fades into night, and experiencing the profound silence of these vast spaces provides an increasingly rare opportunity to disconnect from the modern world. The conservation story of the Rockies adds another dimension to hiking here. These parks and wilderness areas represent some of the earliest and most successful conservation efforts in world history. Yellowstone became the world's first national park in 1872, launching a global movement to preserve natural wonders. As you hike these trails, you're benefiting from the foresight of early conservationists who recognized the value of protecting these landscapes for future generations. For those seeking creature comforts along with their adventure, the Rockies offer historic lodges like the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise in Canada or the Old Faithful Inn in Yellowstone. These grand buildings, many dating back to the early days of mountain tourism, provide luxurious bases for day hikes into surrounding wilderness. The seasons paint the Rockies in dramatically different colors. Summer brings explosions of wildflowers in high meadows. Indian paintbrush, columbine, lupine, and countless others create impressionistic swathes of color. Fall transforms aspen groves into shimmering gold, while winter drapes the mountains in deep snow, creating opportunities for snowshoeing and backcountry skiing. Spring brings rushing waterfalls as snow melt cascades down mountainsides. As we leave the wild expanses of the Rockies behind, we turn our attention to some lesser-known but equally magnificent mountain destinations. While the famous ranges we've explored so far deserve their reputations, some of the world's most rewarding hiking experiences await in mountains that rarely make the cover of travel magazines. While the Himalayas, Alps, Andes, and Rockies justifiably draw hikers from around the world, some of the most rewarding mountain experiences await in lesser-known ranges. These hidden gems offer not just spectacular scenery, but often a deeper sense of discovery and cultural authenticity that can be harder to find in more famous destinations. In this final chapter, we'll explore 4 mountain ranges that deserve a place on any serious hiker's bucket list. Our first stop takes us to North Africa and Morocco's Atlas Mountains. Rising abruptly from the edge of the Sahara Desert, the Atlas Range creates a dramatic geographic and cultural divide. The High Atlas, Middle Atlas, and Anti-Atlas sub-ranges offer distinctly different hiking experiences, but it's the High Atlas that draws most adventurous trekkers. Here, North Africa's highest peak, Mount Toubkal, reaches 4,167 meters, and the surrounding landscapes feel like something from another world. What makes hiking in the Atlas Mountains unique is the juxtaposition of barren, rocky peaks against lush, irrigated valleys where Berber villages have thrived for centuries. The contrasts are striking. Arid slopes reminiscent of the American Southwest transition suddenly to green oases, where walnut and cherry trees shade ancient irrigation channels. Following the 72-kilometer Toubkal circuit takes you through remote Berber communities where traditional mud brick architecture blends seamlessly with the landscape and where local hospitality remains genuine and unstaged. The traditional guest houses, or giets d'étape, provide simple but comfortable accommodations in villages, while local guides share insights into a way of life that has adapted to these challenging mountains over millennia. Unlike more developed mountain regions, hiking here offers glimpses into sustainable mountain livelihoods that have changed little for centuries: terraced agriculture, transhumant shepherding, and communal resource management. The best time to experience the Atlas Mountains is spring, April to May, when wildflowers carpet the lower slopes, or autumn, September to October, when temperatures are moderate and skies clear. Summer brings intense heat at lower elevations, while winter covers the higher peaks in snow, requiring more technical equipment and experience. From North Africa, we travel halfway around the world to New Zealand's Southern Alps. Running the length of the South Island like a jagged spine, these mountains offer some of the most accessible alpine wilderness on Earth. Though the highest peak, Oraki or Mount Cook, reaches only 3,724 meters, what these mountains lack in absolute height, they make up for in dramatic relief, rising steeply from near sea level. New Zealand has developed one of the world's finest systems of long-distance hiking routes, known locally as Great Walks. Among these, the Route Track represents the perfect introduction to Southern Alps hiking. This 32-kilometer route takes you through a constantly changing parade of landscapes: ancient beech forests, subalpine meadows, and dramatic alpine passes with views extending to the distant ocean. What makes the Southern Alps special is their pristine condition. These are mountains largely untouched by human development, where native flora and fauna thrive. The unique biodiversity adds another dimension to hiking here. New Zealand evolved in isolation for millions of years, developing plant and animal species found nowhere else. While hiking, you might encounter the world's only alpine parrot, the kie, known for its intelligence and mischievous behavior. Native plants like the giant mountain buttercup and bizarre vegetable sheep, actually a plant that resembles a woolly sheep from a distance, create an almost otherworldly atmosphere. The Southern Alps are also home to some of the world's most accessible glaciers, though sadly they are rapidly retreating due to climate change. The Muller Hut route in Mount Cook National Park offers a relatively short but challenging day hike or overnight trip that rewards with spectacular views of hanging glaciers and New Zealand's highest peaks. For those seeking solitude, the lesser-known ranges of the Southern Alps, like the Darren Mountains in Fiordland, offer more remote experiences. Here, challenging routes like the Gertrude Saddle provide adventurous hikers with the feeling of pioneering exploration, despite excellent trail infrastructure. Our journey continues to the Caucasus Mountains, straddling the border between Europe and Asia across Georgia, Russia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. These mountains, which reach their highest point at 5,642-meter Mount Elbrus in Russia, remain surprisingly undiscovered by international hikers, despite offering world-class trekking opportunities. Georgia's Savaneti region represents the Caucasus at their most magical. Here, medieval defensive towers rise from villages nestled in deep valleys beneath snow-capped peaks. The 4-day trek from Mestia to Ushguli connects villages that were isolated from the outside world for centuries, preserving unique traditions, cuisine, and even language dialects. What makes hiking here special is not just the dramatic landscapes, but the sense of walking through living history. Savanetti's remote location protected it from numerous invasions over the centuries, allowing a distinctive culture to flourish. The Georgian hospitality tradition adds another dimension to the hiking experience. Local guest houses offer hearty mountain cuisine, featuring distinctive dishes like khachapuri and kinkali, often accompanied by homemade wine from ancient grape varieties. Along the trails, abandoned churches and defensive towers speak to a complex history where Christianity took on unique mountain forms. The hiking season in the Caucasus is relatively short, from late June to mid-September, when high passes are free of snow. July and August offer the most reliable weather, though afternoon thunderstorms remain common. The advantage of this compressed season is the explosion of alpine wildflowers that carpet high meadows in a riot of color. Our final hidden gem takes us to southern Africa and the Drakensberg Mountains. This 1,000-kilometer escarpment forms a natural boundary between South Africa and the mountain kingdom of Lesotho. Though modest in elevation by global standards, the highest peak, Thebana Entolenyana, reaches 3,482 meters. The Drakensberg's sheer basalt cliffs, rising dramatically from rolling grasslands, create some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in Africa. What makes the Drakensberg unique for hikers is the combination of dramatic geology, rich biodiversity, and extraordinary cultural heritage. The range contains the world's second-largest concentration of ancient rock art, with over 35,000 individual paintings created by the San people over thousands of years. Hiking here connects you not just with natural beauty, but with the deep human history of the African continent. The 65-kilometer Giant's Cup Trail showcases the variety of Drakensberg landscapes, from grasslands where eland antelope graze to protected valleys sheltering yellowwood forests before ascending to the dramatic escarpment itself. For more adventurous hikers, the amphitheater slackpacking route includes an ascent up chain ladders to the top of the escarpment, where views extend across the entire range. The Drakensberg is home to unique flora and fauna adapted to the mountain environment. Over 300 bird species inhabit the range, including the endangered bearded vulture or lammergeier. Plant lovers will discover numerous endemic species, some with remarkable adaptations to survive the harsh conditions of high elevations. Unlike many mountain regions, the Drakensberg offers excellent hiking throughout the year, though each season has distinct characteristics. Summer, November to February, brings lush green landscapes and spectacular thunderstorms, while winter, June to August, offers crystal clear air, occasional snow on the higher peaks, and the most reliable time to view the rock art sites in optimal lighting conditions. These hidden gems, the Atlas Mountains, Southern Alps, Caucasus, and Drakensberg, remind us that magnificent mountain experiences await beyond the famous ranges featured in glossy outdoor magazines. Often, these lesser-known destinations offer not just natural beauty, but deeper cultural connections and the genuine sense of discovery that has always motivated mountain explorers. As our journey through Earth's most magnificent mountain ranges comes to an end, we're left with a profound appreciation for these geological giants that have shaped not just landscapes but human cultures and spirits across millennia. From the towering Himalayas touching the sky to the ancient cultured Alps, from the diverse Andes stretching an entire continent to the wild Rockies, and our collection of hidden gems, each range offers its unique blend of natural wonder and human connection. Mountains have always occupied a special place in the human imagination. They challenge us physically and mentally, reminding us of our own limitations while simultaneously inviting us to transcend them. They offer perspective, both literally, as we gain panoramic views from high passes, and metaphorically, as our daily concerns are dwarfed by their timeless presence. Perhaps this is why so many spiritual traditions associate mountains with enlightenment and transcendence. As hikers, we're privileged to experience these landscapes intimately, moving through them at human pace, engaging all our senses. The scent of pine forests and wildflower meadows, the sound of distant avalanches and nearby streams, the feel of sun-warmed granite and cool mountain breezes, the taste of spring water drawn directly from its source, and of course, the visual feast of dramatic peaks and expansive vistas. Yet with this privilege comes responsibility. Many of the world's mountain ranges face serious threats from climate change, which is causing glaciers to retreat at unprecedented rates, altering delicate alpine ecosystems and disrupting traditional mountain livelihoods. Increased tourism brings economic benefits to mountain communities, but also challenges of waste management, cultural preservation, and environmental protection. As hikers, we must practice and advocate for responsible mountain tourism that preserves these treasures for future generations. What mountains will you choose to explore next? Will you challenge yourself on the roof of the world in the Himalayas, immerse yourself in the cultural richness of the Alps, marvel at the ecological diversity of the Andes, find wilderness solitude in the Rockies, or venture off the beaten path to one of our hidden gems? Wherever your mountain dreams take you, remember that the journey itself, the slow, deliberate process of ascending on your own 2 feet, is as important as reaching any summit or destination. If you've enjoyed this mountain journey, please subscribe to our channel for more immersive and inspirational travel content, and let us know in the comments which mountain range is at the top of your hiking bucket list. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.